Hello, my name's Tanya and this is my channel Just Let Me Sew. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you are well. Today's vlog is about the Sewfrugal24 challenge that is running, and it's being hosted by the fantastic Ruan, who is the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and Sam, who is the wonderful Frugalissima. They have been running this challenge for quite some years now, and it's a really exciting challenge. I've watched this challenge for many years and wanted to get involved in it, so I'm really excited to be getting involved this year. Today it is me and Mary Ellen who are doing vlogs. Her channel is She Sews Happiness, so do go over and check out Mary Ellen's vlog as well. I'm going to be looking down at my laptop quite a bit today because I have got quite a few detailed notes and I don't want to forget anything. So first of all, the rules of this challenge. First of all, you have to use a free pattern. That means also something that is accessible to anyone. So it can't be free from a magazine or that someone gave you. It's got to be something that someone can either download or perhaps draft themselves as well. Second rule is don't buy any new fabric. It's got to be a fabric that you already have in your stash or something that you have at home. Perhaps you repurpose a tablecloth, a duvet cover, a bedsheet, something like that. There are some fantastic prizes for this challenge, so it is really well worth having a go at taking part. I will include some of the prizes here, but there are loads. Ruan and Sam have worked so hard to get these prizes, so definitely have a go. And I think the more entries you have, the more chances you have of winning, so go for it. Sew away through the month of March. Take part in this challenge, it's a great one. Just make sure you tag Ruan, who's the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and Sam, who is Frugalissima. And I think you also have to use the hashtag Sewfrugal24 to make sure they see your entries and you stand a chance of winning. So, for my vlog, I am taking an outfit approach, which I thought would be quite a good one for being frugal, because it will hopefully encourage me and maybe you to make up a free garment that you are going to get a lot of wear out of and will be really versatile for different outfits. So the pictures that I am going to use as my sort of reference point, they will obviously be using different fabrics to those that we have in our stash, but it's a nice idea for a style. So the first outfit I'm going to talk about is using wide leg trousers and a relaxed smock peasant top style. So the first pattern that I'm going to talk about is from Peppermint magazine. Now this is a really well-known pattern and I am sure lots of vloggers will be referencing it in their Sewfrugal vlogs. I've never made it up myself, but I do really want to have a go this year at making it up. I have tried the Persephone pants by Anna Allen. They are not free, but I really like the look of those trousers. But I would like to try something where you can perhaps alter them a bit more easily. The Persephone pants are all just one big piece for the front and back panel, but the Peppermint trousers are the traditional front and back leg pieces. They have them as a cropped length, but you could easily lengthen them. You could shorten them to have them as shorts as well. Let me just check the sizing for you as well. So the Peppermint goes up to a hip of 54.5 inches. They are technically free, but you can give a donation to help with the running of the magazine if you want to, if you can do. An alternative wide leg trouser to the Peppermint trousers are from Mood. So Mood Fabrics, you've probably heard of them already, but they have loads and loads of free patterns on their website as well. I have made up one of their free patterns before and I can say it was really good. I haven't made up these pants. This is called the Live pants. I will include a screenshot for you. And they have a nice feature of a vertical pin tuck on them. They go up to a hip of 63.5 inches. Again, I haven't sewn these up, so I can't vouch for how good they are, but I think on the whole, Mood do have good clear instructions. So the top for this outfit look is using the top that I am wearing, and I will try and stand up so you can see it properly. looking a little bit creased now, but this is the Tiana's Closet puff sleeve top. And I haven't really heard people talk about Tiana's Closet much before. I'm not really sure why. They do have quite a few free patterns on their website. If I talk to you a bit of detail about the measurements, this goes up to a bust of 47.5 inches and a hip of 52 inches. I wanted to share my experience of this, and I thought by making it up in time for today's vlog, I could do that and give you a real detailed insight into this one, particularly because I haven't really heard much about Tiana's Closet before. If you have used one of their patterns before, do let me know down below which pattern you used and how you found it. I used a single duvet that I had thrifted from a charity shop a good few years ago, and I had it in mind to do a toile of a dress, a Vogue dress, and I'd just been putting it off, and then I thought actually this would be a great fabric to use for this particular top. You might have seen in my last video that I shared about McCall's top. I'll put a picture and the pattern number here. And I love that top, but I thought perhaps I could find a free version that other people could try out as well. And I did want to make just a plain white version of it too. So this is an alternative to it. And you can see it's got these really lovely big sleeves. Sorry, they are looking quite creased, but I have been wearing this out and about today. The sleeve is attached to the front yoke and the panel, and the same on the back. So you get this really nice big airy sleeve. I have lengthened it. The original pattern ends up sort of about half sleeve. I added on a good 6 or 7 inches to it because I like that 3/4 length bracelet length to it. So as for the actual pattern itself, the first thing I would say is it says you can layer when you print out. It's not a can, it's a must. You absolutely must select the layering function on this. I gave this pattern to my husband to print out for me, and he really kindly went away and printed it. I had asked him to print my size, he forgot, and came home with just lines and lines everywhere, all over these sheets of paper. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be able to figure out what is my size on here. So I knew my size was sort of like the 3rd line in. That was okay. But the reason you have to layer it is because she includes 2 lines per size. The first line is your stitch line. The second line is your seam allowance. And the seam allowance varies all around the pattern. So some parts it's 3/8, other parts it's 1 inch. So it was a bit of a head scratcher for me. So to save you that massive headache of trying to figure out what line you're meant to be going with, make sure you layer it beforehand. If you don't know how to layer, Google it. You really need to do that. Second of all, the instructions. The instructions that they have on their website, they're not terrible, but they're not really detailed. There is, however, a YouTube sew along by the channel So Happy. Yes, So Happy. And I will include the link to this and everything I mentioned today down below. And that's a pretty good sew along. It's really clear. She explains things nicely, easy to follow at a good pace, etc. So I would really recommend that YouTube channel. The only 2 things I found with that is she doesn't get you to stay stitch the neck. And when you sew the front or the bodice, sorry, the yoke pieces together, she doesn't get you to understitch. So if you've got a fabric that presses really well, shouldn't be a problem, but otherwise you'll want to add that step in yourself to understitch. Otherwise you're gonna get it popping out a little bit. Sorry, looking down at my notes again. So yeah, use the YouTube. Other mods that I made, other alterations I made. So I mentioned I lengthened the sleeves. The main thing I did was the length of this neckline. So in the original, this extends down to about here. So you cut the front panel as two mirrored pieces. I didn't want it going all the way down here. I didn't like that. It would have closed with ties, but I just cut the front panel on the fold and then sewed this onto the front panel and omitted those ties, as I said. Yeah, so those were the alterations that I made. I also added about an inch to the length of it, which I'm glad I did because it comes up not really short, but I wouldn't have wanted it any shorter than that in the finish, so do check. They don't include any line drawings on their website that I could see, which made it a little bit harder to see what the finished garment should actually look like. On a model, it's nice to see sort of how it wears, but I wanted to know like where these sleeves were meant to actually finish. And seeing as I messed up so much on the printing, I needed all the help I could get. So it was a little bit of guesswork. I also added a little bit of extra to like my front, to my yoke pieces, because I thought perhaps I've made it a little bit too small. So I could take that out if I wanted to, but I do really like that sort of oversized look. Also, I made this in 100% cotton duvet, which is fantastic because I may end up dyeing it in the future. It's white, so first of all, it might get stained by me, by my children, I don't know. But second of all, when you are using a thrifted item, you need to look really, really carefully for the wear and tear of the garment and any stains, that kind of thing. I had a really close look, but I did miss one stain, which is on the back. It doesn't bother me because it's on the back, but in the future, I might decide to dye it. So that was good. And just beware if you are using anything that you are salvaging from elsewhere in your house. Okay, but overall, I love this pattern. I think it's really, really good. I would probably reprint it accurately this time in the actual size that it's meant to be, just layered without all the other lines everywhere. Okay, so that is outfit number one. Outfit number two, it reuses the wide leg trouser pattern of whichever one you would decide to go for, and it brings in two other wardrobe staples. So the first of all is t-shirt. So there are loads of free t-shirt patterns out there, and I'm not going to list all of them. You may already have a free t-shirt pattern that you like, but I think for this particular outfit, I like the look of the closet core t-shirt, which is a nice oversized t-shirt, nice and boxy, baggy look that they have in the picture. Or you could also use the grain line hemlock tee, which is a long sleeve alternative. If you're in the southern hemisphere heading towards the colder months, you could use that one as well. I haven't made either of those. When I make up t-shirts, I usually use something that I already have in my wardrobe and I trace around it. So I will talk about that in a bit more detail at the end of my vlog and how I go about doing that. But if you do want to use a pattern, those are two patterns that you might want to consider using. So they also show in this picture a shirt. And I came across this pattern called the Paula Workwear Jacket, which is from the fabric store. And in the picture of it here, they have made it up in a heavier fabric, but you could easily use a lighter weight fabric, such as a chambray, to create this sort of layering piece that you would throw over. The Paula Workwear Jacket is for up to a bust size of 54 to 56 inches and a hip of 56 to 58. It's got 6 inches of ease, so it's a nice relaxed fit to it as well. I haven't made this jacket, but I did have a look at the instructions and the pattern, and it looks really professionally made. The instructions are really clear, all seems to make sense to me. So I think that would be a really, really good one. I can't believe this is free because there are patterns out there very similar to this that you have to pay a lot of money for those patterns. So to have this one for free is fantastic. I think it looks really, really good. I would like to have a go at making that one up. Right, outfit number 3 is a bias cut skirt with either an oversized jumper or an oversized cardigan. I love this look because I think it's got that dressed up look, but it also feels a bit more relaxed because you've got that snuggly top part to it as well. Now, the bias cut skirt that I'm going to talk about, I have made before, and I will try and include a picture of my skirt. And I used the Mood Indigo skirt, which goes up to a waist of 49.5 inches and a hip of 63 inches. The instructions are really clear for this pattern, really easy to follow, and with a bias skirt you really don't need many pattern pieces. I think with this one it's only actually 2 pattern pieces, because the waistband you just fold over to make a casing for your elastic, so it's just the front and the back. On the website I think she had to cut her fabric, her front piece or her back piece in 2, just because of the fabric limitations she had, but it is just technically 2 pattern pieces. What I would say, if you haven't ever made up a bias skirt before or anything on the bias, be really careful once you have cut out your pattern pieces, because it's on the bias it will stretch out of shape really easily. So once you cut it, fold it away nice and neatly and try not to touch it until you need it. So that is my idea for the skirt. For the sweater, you could use the Monroe turtleneck by Tessuti Patterns. I haven't made this up before, but I know it's super popular in the sewing community. It goes up to a size XXL. And I think, if I remember, this might be the pattern that people have talked about with it being quite tight around the bicep. So it has this drop shoulder and then the sleeve starts from there. If you are concerned about that, just make sure you take your measurements really carefully. It would be really easy just to widen those bottom sleeve pieces, and then just make sure you widen your armhole as well to match. So for that one, they've got it in the pictures in a knit. You could go for something slightly chunkier if you wanted it to be more of a sort of jumper feel. Just make sure you've got enough give in your fabric, and maybe extend your pattern pieces a little bit if you want to, if it hasn't got as much stretch as it needs. For the cardigan, I don't think I've heard anybody really mention this very much, and there might be a reason why. Now this is by Melly Sews. Melly Sews has a blog, and for this particular cardigan the limitation is that the pattern that she includes is just for a 34-inch bust, and then she gives you instructions on how to grade down or grade up as you need to. So you are going to have to think a little bit harder if you want to make this one, a little bit of a head scratcher. She gives you the instructions of how to sort of slash and spread, etc. But it looks like a lovely cardigan, a nice, simple, straightforward, classic design to it. So those are my 3 outfits that I have picked out to try and recreate during Sewfrugal24. I hope you've been inspired to have a go at some of these. I think even if you just take out some of the garments, they're nice staples that you could piece together with other things as well. But I wanted to finish off by just saying how I sew frugally in general, and I do this with stretch fabrics. So you might have seen a couple of videos ago that I made up a bright pink t-shirt inspired by the Solar Tee pattern, and I just used a t-shirt that I already have which has drop sleeves, and then I googled how to calculate and create a ruffle. And then I just sort of made it up as I went along of how to attach this ruffle. You could do that as well, drawing around perhaps a pair of joggers if you wanted to be a bit more adventurous. You just need to make sure that when you are folding your pattern in half, you've got, for trousers, the back leg is going to be slightly wider than the front leg piece, etc. But if you're not sure, just a quick Google how to trace your own patterns, and you will find loads of YouTube tutorials or blogs rather that explain how to do it. You might have to think a little bit harder, but when it's with stretch fabrics, they're usually a bit more forgiving, so you can get around it that way. But it's quite rewarding to know that you'd made that without a pattern at all. So a little bit of Googling and you can make your own patterns using garments that you have already got. I haven't included instructions on how to do that. Firstly, because I might have different garments to you in your wardrobe and that wouldn't be much help to you for this particular challenge. And secondly, I probably wouldn't do any justice to all the amazing instructions that are already out there. So just go and have a quick look on Google if that's something that you're interested in doing. Really rewarding to try. Okay, so that is a whistle-stop tour of my 3 outfits for Sewfrugal24. As I said, I really hope you've enjoyed them. Up tomorrow is Stephanie Farrell Focus and Wandering Bobbin, who will be sharing their Sew Frugal ideas and tips. I hope you enjoy sewing up anything. Please do let me know if you're going to be getting involved in the challenge, if you've maybe done it in past years, what you made, what your experiences were, if you've tried any of the patterns that I've mentioned today, particularly perhaps Tiana's Closet, because I haven't really heard people talk about that very much. What are your experiences of it? So until next time, happy sewing. If you have liked today's video, please do give me a thumbs up and consider hitting the subscribe button. I would love to have you along to share my vlogs with me. Thanks for watching. Bye.